The world of K-pop is again made crowded by one of the most emotional moments on stage. In the atmosphere of BTS's concert in Baltimore, Maryland, the interaction between Jimin and Jungkook managed to steal the attention of fans. A warm hug in the middle of the festive concert, plus a loving phrase that sounded like, "I love you," made the ARMY who were present and who witnessed pieces of the moment through social media immediately excited. BTS concerts aren't just about music, choreography, spectacular stage settings, or the thousands of light sticks that fill the venue. For ARMY, spontaneous moments between members are often the most memorable. Looks, smiles, jokes, to simple hugs can turn into memories that continue to be talked about after the concert is over. So it was with Jimin and Jungkook's moment in Baltimore. The interaction of the two becomes one of the parts that gets the most attention because it happens in a very emotional atmosphere. In the midst of such a huge concert energy, Jimin was seen giving Jungkook a hug. The moment then attracted even more attention when a loving phrase was heard that made the fans react immediately. Baltimore suddenly filled with screaming ARMY. Since BTS performed on stage, the atmosphere of the concert in Maryland has been amazing. Thousands of soldiers came with high enthusiasm to watch their idol performance live. The sound of the audience shouting can be heard in almost every part of the show, especially when each member gets the spotlight. However, the atmosphere changes even more excited when Jimin and Jungkook are in the same moment. The interaction of the two made many fans spontaneously scream. Even for spectators who are quite far from the stage, the moment is still felt because of the huge audience response. Jimin is then seen approaching Jungkook and giving him a hug. It didn't take place in a rushed atmosphere. The moment actually felt warm and natural. Jungkook was seen accepting the hug with an expression that made fans even more excited. Within seconds, the ARMY's cries grew louder. For BTS fans, hugs between members are actually not something strange. The 7 members have gone through so many journeys together, from trainees, debuts, world tours, awards, hard times, to big moments in their careers. The emotional closeness between them has indeed become one of the things that has always been appreciated by the ARMY. But when the moment takes place in front of thousands of fans in person, the atmosphere certainly feels different. Jimin's sentence that made the ARMY wrong focus. What makes the moment even more crowded is not just the hug. Jimin's words that sounded like, "I love you," made many soldiers immediately react. The simple sentence felt so strong because it was delivered in an emotional concert atmosphere. Fans then started talking about the moment on various social media platforms. Videos and photos from the concert became a topic of conversation. Many soldiers admitted that they were not ready to see the interaction. Some were touched to see the closeness of the two BTS members. There are also those who feel resentful to see Jungkook's expression after getting a hug from Jimin. Some fans even noticed the small details that happened in those few seconds, starting from facial expressions, body movements, to audience responses. The moment that actually lasted a short time was then felt very long because it was constantly replayed by fans. Not just an ordinary hug for the ARMY. For people who only see it at first glance, a hug between two people may seem like something simple. However, for ARMY who has been following BTS's journey for years, such small interactions have their own meaning. Jimin and Jungkook are 2 members who have grown up together in BTS. They have been in the same situation when they were trainees, facing the pressure of debuting, undergoing long training, performing in various countries, to standing in front of huge stadiums filled with fans. Therefore, when they show affection and support for each other on stage, many fans see it as a picture of the friendship and strong bond that they have built over the years. The phrase, "I love you," can also be understood in the context of the closeness of fellow members and friends who have gone through a long journey together. This is what makes the moment feel warm. Not solely because of the sentence, but because of who said it, to whom it was delivered, and under what circumstances the moment occurred. One of the things fans noticed the most was, of course, Jungkook's reaction. After receiving the hug, Jungkook's expression became no less interesting. Fans instantly zoomed in on the snippet of video to see her reaction more clearly. A small smile, a surprised expression, and the relaxed atmosphere that appeared afterwards made the ARMY even more nervous. Not a few fans later said that Jungkook looked like he didn't expect to get the hug. However, once again, the interpretation of an idol's expression remains subjective. Only Jimin and Jungkook really knew what they were feeling in that moment. What fans can see is that the atmosphere between the two looks warm and full of togetherness. And it's precisely that kind of spontaneity that makes BTS's concerts feel alive. Why are spontaneous moments always in the spotlight? The concert has many sections that have been carefully prepared. The song is determined. Choreography is trained. Position shift has been planned. Lighting, large screens, stage effects, to interaction with the audience also have a certain concept. But among all that, there are always spontaneous moments that come naturally. Moments such as hugs, jokes, teasing each other, or short conversations between members are often the ones that fans remember the most. This happens because fans can see a more natural side of BTS. Not only did they see 7 idols running a big show, but they also saw 7 people who had spent most of their lives traveling together. When Jimin gave Jungkook a hug, many soldiers felt the warmth of the friendly relationship. Moreover, the atmosphere of Baltimore itself has been very emotional because the fans have been waiting for the moment BTS performs live. ARMY instantly flooded social media. Not long after the moment occurred, talk about Jimin and Jungkook began to spread on social media. Fans re-upload pieces of video from different angles. Some slow down the video to see the details of their interaction. There is also a compilation of various moments of Jimin and Jungkook throughout the concert. The ARMY's comments came as well. Some said they were not ready to see the hug. Others were moved to see BTS members support each other. There were also fans who could only laugh because the reaction of the audience at the venue sounded so loud. This kind of phenomenon is not something new in the BTS fandom. Whenever there is interesting interaction between members, ARMYs from various countries usually enliven the conversation. A moment of a few seconds can turn into a topic of conversation for hours and even days. Baltimore becomes part of Arirang tour memories. Each city in the course of the BTS tour has its own story. There is a city that is remembered for outstanding vocal performances. Some are remembered for a certain choreography. Some are remembered for the reaction of the audience. Baltimore now has one of the no less interesting moments to remember. Jimin's hug to Jungkook and the loving words heard from the stage were part of what made the concert feel special for ARMY. Not only because the two members were on stage together, but because the moment came amid the enormous energy of the concert. Thousands of people witnessed the same event firsthand. And when footage of the moment began to circulate on the internet, millions of other fans were able to feel the atmosphere. Jimin and Jungkook's closeness always attracts attention. Jimin and Jungkook have long been known as two BTS members who have a close relationship as groupmates. They grew up together in the same environment and went through different phases of life as part of BTS. The relationship makes every interaction. They often get the attention of the ARMY. However, it is important to distinguish between the closeness of a friendship seen in public with various private speculations that may appear on social media. Hugs and affectionate words on stage do not automatically mean anything outside the context of friendship or inter-member relationships. Precisely one of the interesting things about BTS is how they can show affection to each other in a warm way without having to explain every moment to the public. Therefore, ARMY can enjoy the moment as part of BTS's togetherness without the need to make conclusions that are not known to be true. I love you, that makes the atmosphere even more emotional. Simple sentences sometimes have a tremendous effect. I love you. In a concert, when the phrase is said to someone who has gone through a long journey together, its meaning can feel very emotional. Jimin and Jungkook aren't just two people working in a group. They have gone through many years of traveling together. They know what it's like to perform on a small stage before finally reaching the big stages. They know what it's like to face the pressures of the industry. They also know each other's journeys more closely than most people. That's why, when Jimin showed affection to Jungkook on stage, ARMY could feel the emotional side of the friendly relationship. The reaction of the audience becomes part of the moment. Aside from Jimin and Jungkook, there was one other party that made the moment even more interesting: the ARMY inside the venue. As soon as the interaction occurs, the audience's voice instantly increases. The cries seem to be a spontaneous response from thousands of people who watch the moment simultaneously. For a performer, such a reaction of the audience can certainly provide additional energy. Concerts are not one-way communication. Artists perform, fans give energy, and the energy is again felt by the artist. That is why the atmosphere of a live concert is often different from watching a recording. When thousands of soldiers shout together, even a simple moment like a hug can feel overwhelming. Why is it so hard for the army to move on? There are several reasons why the moment so quickly became a conversation. First, the embrace took place directly on stage. Second, Jimin and Jungkook's expressions made fans curious. Third, saying "I love you" makes the atmosphere even more emotional. And finally, everything happened in front of thousands of soldiers who immediately gave an extraordinary response. The combination makes the brief moment turn into one of the highlights of the concert. It is not surprising that fans then continued to replay her recordings. Some saw it to enjoy the expressions of the two members. "I want to hear Jimin's words again." Some just want to feel the atmosphere of a Baltimore concert again. Warm moments in the middle of a crowded tour. A world tour is not an easy journey. The members have to undergo a busy schedule: intercity travel, rehearsals, soundcheck, performances, interviews, and various other activities. In the midst of such a schedule, inter-member support becomes something very important. A simple hug can be a form of support. A smile can be an encouragement. And loving words can be a reminder that they are not going through the journey alone. Jimin and Jungkook have been through a lot together as part of BTS. Army welcomes with love. The fan response to the moment in general shows how strong the emotional connection between BTS and Army is. Fans don't just come to listen to songs. They come to create memories. They want to witness interactions that cannot be found in studio recordings. They want to feel the energy of BTS directly. And when you get a spontaneous moment like Jimin's hug to Jungkook, of course it becomes a very valuable bonus. Many fans will probably carry the story as one of their favorite memories from the Baltimore concert. Do not forget to enjoy the moment without exaggeration. In the midst of euphoria, there is one thing to also keep in mind. Every idol interaction on stage should be enjoyed as is. Fans can feel happy, moved, excited, even scream when they see their favorite moments. However, the interpretation of a person's personal feelings or relationships remains uncertain based on just a few seconds of footage. Clearly, Jimin and Jungkook seem to show closeness and affection as fellow BTS members. And that in itself is already something very beautiful to witness. Baltimore has a story to remember. The concert will end. The stage lights will eventually be turned off. The army will leave the venue and return to their respective homes. But the memories from the concert will remain. For some fans in Baltimore, one of those memories may be when Jimin approached Jungkook and gave him a warm hug. For the rest of the fans, perhaps the voice of the screaming audience will be the most memorable part. But for many of the soldiers who followed the concert footage via social media, the phrase "I love you" may have been the part that made them smile the most. Conclusion. The moment Jimin hugged Jungkook at a BTS concert in Baltimore, Maryland, managed to steal Army's attention and became one of the most talked about interactions. The warm embrace, plus a greeting that sounded like "I love you," made the concert atmosphere even more emotional and sparked a splashy reaction from the fans. For Army, moments like this are a reminder that BTS's journey isn't just about the big stage and global success. There is also friendship, support, laughter, and simple moments between the members that make their journey feel so human. Jimin and Jungkook have grown up together as part of BTS. They have gone through various phases of their career and life as a group. Therefore, it is not surprising that the warm interaction between them has always received an overwhelming response from fans. Baltimore finally has its own story. One hug, a loving expression, and thousands of Army voices that instantly exploded filled the venue. In the end, that's one of the beauties of BTS concerts. Not all the best moments have to be planned. Sometimes, the simplest moments become the most difficult moments to forget. And when Jimin gave Jungkook a hug in Baltimore, Maryland, ARMY seemed to get one more reason to smile, scream, and say that the night really left a deep impression. Jimin and Jungkook may have shared a brief hug, but for ARMY, it was a huge moment. Baltimore once again witnesses BTS' journey full of music, friendship, emotions, and memories.